This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, and email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Good morning to you both.
Morgan.
Morning.
And good morning to all our... I could probably do them individually if you got a couple of minutes. No, I'll do them as a group. To all our readers this morning. I've been on the road this week.
Oh, have you?
I've been filming, dear, you see.
I thought you meant you'd just been driving around in your new car.
No, I never go for a drive. This is something I've never done in my life. I've never, ever...
You do it on the road.
Have you been for a drive? I don't mean
yeah.
driven somewhere. Have you ever thought, I'm going to go for a drive?
I don't think I have, actually.
No.
I've done it, I think.
Have you really?
I love a drive. And I remember reading, I think we have discussed this before on the show, but Carnu, the former Arsenal player, regularly did that when he arrived at Arsenal because he didn't have many friends and didn't know anyone, and he would just say, I'll just go for a drive for 2 hours.
The other thing about that is if I'd seen Carnu and he'd said, do you want to come for a drive with me, I would have gone. I thought that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
I'd have driven him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have driven it.
I think this is it. I mean, we live in a country...
Would that change it to... Would you then be going for a passenger? If you weren't going for a drive?
Well, we know, Al, already that Frank gets into cabs very much like Crocodile Dundee, right in the front seat.
Well, they don't like that anymore, actually. Those days have gone, I think. But no, this country is crippled by loneliness, its citizens, and that's all it needs is some system, now that we're on social media, where Carnu can put out an APB, all persons bulletin, and says, I fancy going for a drive, anyone want to come? Yeah. Imagine how many Arsenal fans would have been on. Because he became a West Brom player, Carnu.
Yeah.
But can I just tell you a strange coincidence? He was a really fabulous player even when he came to us, though no one knew how old he was.
I remember when we had those.
It was one of those fabulous African passports. He could be 40 and he could be 93. But anyway, he was brilliant for us. And we also had a brilliant player, Brian Robson, who I'm sure you know. And then we had a player called Robson Carnu.
Oh,
I mean, what's the chances of that?
It's written in the stars.
Yeah, I left out the whether he was brilliant bit on that, the last bit. I don't know if you noticed.
So, cut to you in your car.
Yes. Also, I've never done that thing that people do in soap operas when they say, I'm just going to go out and get some air. Like the suggestion that air doesn't come indoors. How do you think... people should say, well, how do you think we're surviving in here?
Yeah.
Really usually just phoning someone they're having a bit of a thing with.
Yeah.
So, yes, I was... Do you remember when I spoke on the show about names that really don't... where people really haven't made the effort? Yeah. Like a fly, for example. Whoever named a fly has really not gone to the second page of the insect naming book.
It's a real first thought.
There must be wasps thinking, well, why can't I be called a fly?
Yeah.
And, there's lots of
spiders have made the effort. Could be webbies.
Exactly. You wouldn't arrive at that name immediately, would you?
No.
But an orange, is the other thing.
No,
come on.
Lovely work from spiders, though.
Anteater, I think we discussed last time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, football. Anyway, what I'm leading up to is this week I was in the Somerset town of Bridgewater.
Oh, come on.
I may try a little bit, for goodness sake.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I don't know if you've ever noticed that sometimes on YouTube clips, the first commenter puts first. Have you ever seen that?
No. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't remember ever looking at a comment on a YouTube. I wasn't even sure that they were any.
Well, we've had our first comment from the outside world today from 619, and they didn't put first, but they did put size 15 feet, Carnu. which I think is a great comment.
Wow.
It's a very strong fact.
And size, I believe size 5, Sven-Goran Eriksson.
Really?
No way.
Man, don't go out in the snow, Sven. Tough for a Swede.
It's like when my dog Ray goes out in the snow. Those are the footprints he leaves.
Carnu, size 15.
It sounds
Beautiful.
like Sven-Goran Eriksson could have worn Carnu's shoes over his own.
Yeah, he could have worn them as overshoes in bad weather to stop him sinking into the snow.
Sven's footprints look like a dog in socks. That's what I think it would have looked like.
How strange. Oh,
I won't
dear.
tell you how I know that.
No. But that's a good fact.
Legend.
I like to think that Carnu might have gone in the oversized shoe shop at the bottom of my road before it sadly closed recently.
Maybe that's where he was driving around, like on the
He
street where
drives
you
around
live.
looking for that. Looking for where he could get some 15s. How long are the laces in a pair of size 15s? Anyway,
It's too big, Carnu.
what
Too
about
big.
the poor apprentices that have to polish them every week? They must have had two of the youth team doing car. I'll do the heel, and you do the toe, and what would it be? What's the top of the foot called? All I know is it's got a lot of bones in the top of the foot.
Oh, yeah. There's all sorts, aren't there? Al, you'll know things like this.
My theory about it is that is why when you go to a hotel, you either get body wash in the shower or very, very small soap. Because if you drop a big bar of soap on the top of your foot, you could break a bone. That could be a court case.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was staying at a hotel in Bridgewater this week.
Oh, yes.
And they, there's a couple of things happened. First of all, the cleaners are not operating because of the global pandemic. Yeah. So I was there for 3 nights and a cleaner never crossed my threshold during that period. You know what? It's much, much better.
Why?
Yeah.
Because what do, cleaners? I mean, they do for a start off. They do deliberately that which I really try not to do accidentally. So they come into my room when I'm not there and leave the light and the telly on deliberately. Feeling that I'm the sort of person, I don't want to walk into a room that's like a dark, silent room. That would be awful. No, incorrect. And also,
Well, they don't get a lot of the monastic types like you. You know, you embrace that.
yeah, but they don't even leave the telly on a channel. It says something like "Hello, Frank" on it in like a really cheap sort of Pac-Man font on the telly. Is that supposed to make me think, oh, this is a glamorous spot? It's like when you get the hotel brochure. And on the front, there isn't a picture of the hotel at all. There's a close-up of a glass of red wine with a blurry cityscape behind it. What's that going to mean? Oh, I'm glad I'm here with the nearsighted alcoholics.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yeah, I'll tell you what happened to me. I was, I breakfasted alone at the hotel.
What is this?
I always breakfast.
Pepys'
You've not got
diary.
a sad sound effect for that.
No, I'm good with it.
Al, it's like Samuel Pepys' diary.
I also do this thing which I have mentioned before, is that I don't look at my phone or read anything. I sit and stare straight ahead. And I really like it, but there's no one else in the play ever doing it. It's like the phone has completely wiped out sitting and staring straight ahead, whereas I feel completely comfortable doing it. And I like that the people around me feel less comfortable because I'm doing it. But the woman came up to you. They come up to you at the table and say, do you want tea or coffee and all this? And then she said, do you want white toast or brown toast? Well, I wasn't planning on having toast, but I didn't want to be rude. So I said, I'll have brown toast. And then I thought, oh no, I've got toast coming. Anyway, it arrived and I realised I don't think I've had a piece of toast with nothing on it for about 10 years.
No butter.
Or butter on it, but I mean, no,
Oh,
So
yeah.
I had a slice of buttered toast, full stop. Yeah, that was it. And halfway through, I started thinking, this is great.
It's great, isn't it?
I love buttered toast. What have I been wasting my time
Yeah.
not eating buttered toast? I know we talk about late reviews on it,
Yeah,
but really, it was, I wanted to, well, I'd say I wanted to hug this woman, obviously, that's out of the question on so many grounds, but I was really pleased with myself to the point where the next morning the woman came over and said, do you want tea or coffee? I said, tea or coffee, and I'll have some brown toast, please. And you know what? Wasn't as good. And that's something I've always found in my life. You can't go to the same party twice.
Oh, okay.
It's, it was great. I should have left it at that. But now I'm back on I'm shrugging. You can't see the shrug at home, but I'm saying toast, shrug in brackets.
Although toast, another bit of very lazy naming.
I suppose that's true, yeah.
You know.
Also, I did some of that. You get the sort of generation game toaster at some hotels where you put it on and it goes on a little conveyor belt.
Little ramp.
It's like a sort of extreme makeover.
It'd be a rubbish generation game because you'd only ever win toast. So that's obviously all you'd remember because that's all. I should say if you're a younger person or a person who was too poor to have a television in the 70s, that on the generation game, the prizes would go past the winner. It's just interesting. They won, but that wasn't quite enough. The prizes would go past them on a conveyor belt, and they only got the ones they remembered. Which is it's great. They should bring that back for things like just wages and stuff like that. Medals, Olympic medals.
Just checking my contract.
Yeah, but so it was. I really wish I hadn't. If I'd just had that one, I would be on here now, singing the praises of.
It's saying that toast is the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I was walking through Bridgewater, and a man approached me. Very nice chap. His name was I'll say his name. He was called Ivor, and he was from Shrewsbury. And we had a little chat, and he didn't want a photo or anything, just to say hello, and it was nice. And we talked, I suppose, for about 3 minutes, and then we went each our own ways. And he was wearing, Ivor, a gold brocade jerkin clasped at the neck, and black pleated pantaloons that ended about halfway down his. He was a man, probably, I don't want to put an age on him really, but maybe late 40s.
Goodness.
Right.
And during the whole conversation,
You aging him does feel a bit like you're sort of saying, is he too old or too young for that? I'd like to know.
I don't know. What I'm talking about is a sort of Sultan's right-hand man.
Oh, that was the look, was it? Yes.
But the great thing was we spoke for a while. I never mentioned it.
Good lad.
It's one of the most English things I've ever done.
I love that.
But it was a striking outfit.
What sort of, if you had to put a century on it, what would you go for, do you think?
Well, I'm not very good on the East.
Oh, I see. It had that flavour.
I'll be with you. Yeah,
It had that flavour. I get it.
I could imagine, that some of the great nabobs and Eastern rulers used to have a man whose job was to say to them every day, "One day you shall die," and that was their job, to keep their feet on the.
Is that essentially my job?
Not a bad gig, actually.
You say not a bad gig, but you never. With those old nabobs, there's always a chance they're going to take it the wrong way. Who do you think you're talking to? One day, it's one of those statements that you can imagine someone taking. Why bring that up? Well, that's my. Never mind your job.
Yes, he sounds very much my late grandmother, who had 5 husbands and several boyfriends. But that's another story. She briefly dated when she was living in Turkey. A man who described his job as the king's messenger.
Okay.
And I like to see this man, maybe his style was quite King's Messenger chic.
Well, I'm thinking now that maybe he was in some sort of show. It really didn't look just like eccentric clothing. I mean, it could have been, but it was at the sharp end of...
he just didn't mention that he was playing the lead in, like, the Ottoman Empire, the musical or something.
Yeah, did I mention, by the way, that he was sitting cross-legged on a magic carpet? He could have been. He would not have looked... I mean, there's very few of us who can confidently say that we wouldn't look out of place on a magic carpet, but he'd have slotted in.
Did he come up to you? Were his first words, "I can show you the world"?
No, I think he offered to show me Bridgewater. But, you know, tiny steps.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Have we had any... sometimes I think there's no one listening, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, no, there's definitely people listening.
Okay.
We've heard from the outside world, and it's not just textings.
What, alfresco Mond?
Yeah, it's not just textings about footballers and football managers' shoe sizes, although they're obviously welcome.
Yeah.
033, who's also known as Nugget, who's a fairly regular contributor to the show.
Oh yeah, I think he's
text.
probably got a carriage clock coming up. He's been with us so long.
I'm going to focus on part 1 of Nugget's offering.
Oh.
Re the apparent demise of joke shops. Frank, following up on your discussion a couple of weeks ago, during which you asked shops, could I suggest that they have been subsumed into fancy dress shops? The 2 fancy dress shops which come to mind nearest to us both stock a variety of traditional joke shop offerings: rubber excrement, clothes peg chewing gum, whoopee cushions, prank bugs, squirting buttonholes, flowers, etc. Fear not, Frank. I think you will find that the joke shop is still going strong. I think this is an interesting idea, that it's been subsumed by fancy dress shops.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Timpson's thing is you can go and get your keys done, get your shoes mended.
Yeah.
Get your watch battery.
Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can get a sports trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's bad news for me, because I find how can I put it, the sort of lower end of the fancy dress costume shops, distressing places.
Yeah.
You know, if I see a badly cut lapel on a on a black satin Dracula jacket,
Can I tell you my worst thing? Well, I will anyway.
Go on.
Is fancy dress costumes, and I have seen people, because I've been to a few in my times, you know, as have you, Frank. When I see the fold marks in the costume, that makes me very depressed. I know it arrived that morning in the cellophane, and I can still see where it was folded in the packaging.
My
I don't want to see Spider-Man's folds.
I only well, speak for yourself. I only
in some of the later films.
I only go really to Halloween fancy dress, and my thing is when people wear a standard outfit and just put a bit of blood on the shirt.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on. So you just become, we got that policewoman outfit. I can be zombie policewoman. Yeah, that's a popular film. I remember that. Absolute rubbish. Would it be? No, I haven't got time.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, and email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Frank, I would like to begin this hour with some correspondence from our loyal readers.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Firstly, Laugh and Let Die has been in touch
Okay.
with it's a minor correzione. Supersonic was little and large.
Oh, no, that's quite... I said it was cannon and ball. No, that's a major. I'd take that as a... I'm going to give her the... is it a her? I have a sense it was a her.
Supersonic Sid Little, as they pointed out, as opposed to...
Correczione, ole, ole, ole. It's beautifully mixed, that jingle, I always think.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it's the audio version of when they invented blue screen on television and people used to move about with all that sort of rather blurry bit around the edges of them.
Mm-hmm.
John Pertwee, if you want to check that out as Doctor Who. Okay.
Is that right?
Oh, I look forward to that. 710 has also been in touch. Morning, Frank, mate. I've just woken up, but have a great show. Give my regards to Alan and lots of love to Emily. That's from Wayne in Cardiff. Should that have been a text?
That. No, but you know, sometimes people... Isn't it nice that someone thought, I don't need to say anything special, I'll just...
Yeah. Do you know what else I like about that?
What?
Is that Frank doesn't read the texts, so what's just happened is you gave regards to Frank for him to give back to you and me.
And can I tell you what else I like about Wayne in Cardiff? Really respectful. The old ways are going, but I like this. He gave you his regards and he gave me his love.
Okay.
Okay. Bit of a knight's move, maybe.
Do you imagine there was a bit of a nod? I wish you'd have put brackets nodding at the end. No, that's nice, that. That's like when I used to work in a factory and you got in the morning. And obviously I didn't get any texts or anything because there weren't none. But just that sort of nodding, morning, all right? Yeah. Just going to do me toast. Them was the days when I still liked it.
Oh, yeah.
I spoke earlier about having toast after a long period and really liking it and then not liking it. It reminded me a bit, when you go back out with an ex and then it's like great and then suddenly you remember why you stopped.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it was with the toast.
Yeah.
Also, M.H. Whittington wants to know...
M.H. Whittington? Is this written in Robin Hood writing on a scroll? Good Lord. M.H. Whittington has been in lovely.
Celebrated author.
Is this on Twitter?
Yes.
There isn't enough formality like that on Twitter. Respect to you, M.H.
M.H. Whittington. This is our demographic now, guys. Get used to it. Whatever happened to Mariah Carey's feathers?
Oh, yes. It was Bring On the Feathers, wasn't it?
It was. Do you remember?
She was in the middle of a gig in which she ended with a sort of fan dance. And the gig wasn't going... It was in Times Square, I think. The gig was floundering and she just said, bring on the feathers. In other words, let's curtail this nightmare. And I used to end the show...
You did.
...with it. We've had a few alternatives. I've tried a few different endings apart from my...
But it's been a while, as is indicated by the fact that M.H. Whittington from 1862 has got in touch about it.
I think I tried the Black Country farewell, Tararbit, as well.
I like
for
that.
a while. Tararbit. And I went in a pub this week in Nether Stowey.
What were you doing in a pub?
Well, you don't have to drink.
Okay.
And the bloke who run it was a Black Country bloke, I think, as were his family with him. And as I left, I shouted, ta-ra a bit, and I heard about 4, ta-ra a bit, ta-ra a bit, coming back from the... Oh, it took me back to the glory days.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Before we do anything else, I need to get something off my chest.
Okay, here we go.
Michael Gove.
Ah, yes.
He has been giving it large this week.
Right.
Did you see this, Al?
He's been raving, hasn't
He was at a jungle techno night.
Who was
in
it?
the Aberdeen area. The pub is called... you have a question, Frank Skinner?
No, that sound is my disbelief grown.
He went to a night spot. It was a pub. It was an O'Neill's. It's very complicated, this whole setup. It was an O'Neill's pub. He went to the club upstairs called Bohemia. The specific night was called Pipe.
Right.
Okay?
I don't know what pipe. Is pipe a kind of music?
No.
You get piped music, don't you?
Jungle techno is the music. I don't know
Jungle
if-
techno, of
Are you
course.
familiar with jungle techno?
Oh, who isn't?
I mean, it's a lot of...
Are they the guys that men those zebra patterned jeeps? Is it anything like acid reflux?
Yeah, No.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it's like. It's very this is very your area, isn't it? But it's sort of
Very
early
much,
90s.
yeah.
It's
Don't stereotype, because he lives in Manchester doesn't mean he knows all this
No,
stuff.
that's not why I live in Manchester, but I do like that sort of music.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
It's rare that I find myself in the same bit of the Venn diagram as Michael Gove. That's what shocked me.
And he was on his own in this.
So he was listening to the music.
Player's gonna play.
I mean, so Frank doesn't know it, but you know the sort of music.
Yeah.
One popular... Are you familiar with Dead Man's Chest?
No.
Okay.
Only it's in an old pirate song. 15
pirate
hands on a dead man's chest, yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum.
Imagine if he was that's what you'd be dancing to.
I don't mind dancing to that.
You would go to that club.
Yeah, and you know what? I'd just like fold one knee up, so I went a bit long John Silver.
Anyway,
So he's on his own. This is the
He's on
other
his
thing.
own.
He's on his
on his
own at a jungle techno night in.
Well, I
Aberdeen.
think technically speaking, he went for a pint on his
technically
own.
speaking.
He went for a
pint.
pint on his own. He's strange enough.
And then some friends in the bar said, well, we're going upstairs to the jungle techno night called Pipe. And he thought it was panpipes. And I think that's what
What?
happened. He went, no, I made that bit up.
Okay.
He's made it out his life.
You don't think he was just hiding from Dennis the Menace, do you?
No, I tell you, I think because there was this other thing, wasn't there, that the man who appears to be the manager of Pipe, extraordinary job,
Yeah.
he claimed that when Gove ascended the stairs to Bohemia
Yeah.
at 1:15,
Which I would have thought he did, a while back. Yeah.
he made the ascension at 1:15 a.m.
Wowee.
It's late, Frank.
But was he on his own?
Yes, he was.
I mean, it's an absolute. We absolutely 100%. Do you remember recently we talked about when the Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp
Oh, yes.
was spotted sitting on someone's shoulders on Wembley Way before an England game, and it turned out it was a looky likey, as I believe they're now called.
Yeah.
Is there any? The interesting thing about that is that Jurgen Klopp doesn't look like Jurgen Klopp anymore.
Yeah.
But perhaps that's just to put that guy out of work.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? If this story was Jurgen Klopp had been seen alone at a nightclub and now wanted to be called JK, we would think, oh, it's that bloke again.
Yeah.
Is there any way this could be a Gove? Gove impression. Yeah, a Gove-alike, yeah.
No.
Okay. I just wanted to establish that. In that case, I feel I can approach this with more gusto.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So Gove, another little detail with Gove, who was sans tie, I noticed.
Yeah, you know what? That's the one thing that made me think it wasn't a lookalike. Because a lookalike would have gone for the tie to look as Gove-like as possible. And the fact he had an open collar.
Well, what I like
I couldn't believe that he was dancing in a suit jacket, though. I mean, if I'm in a place and it's even remotely warm, that suit jacket is coming off. I'm in the shirt. But dancing in it, indoors, I mean, wow.
Yeah, but I was happy that he was in that because do you remember those pictures of Who was the bald man who was the head of the Conservative Party?
Well, you narrow it down,
William
love.
Hague.
Duncan? No, not... Who was it?
Ian Duncan Smith.
No, it wasn't him, was it? The one who was sounded... Who
William
said he
Hague.
liked to pint. William Hague.
Oh, Al said him. Sorry, Al.
Sorry, there was pictures of him in like box fresh trainers and baseball cap, and I thought, no, please don't do it. Don't do anything, but don't do this. That's what I thought. And I think I don't imagine Gove's got that in his wardrobe.
No.
Right.
He, I'll tell you what I liked about the clip, because there's actually someone has kindly videoed Michael Gove on the dance floor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bet that you look
Which
Gove
I'm sure
on the
he's
dance
delighted
floor.
about.
Well, he might be, because I thought maybe this is Michael Gove trying to look like one of the people, and he's done a gesture, like when you see Boris Johnson driving a forklift truck with a white hat on. But the video, which has been edited, it's like a bit like the montage when Rocky gets super fit, because it keeps cutting and it's a different piece of music. So he's not up there for like 2 minutes. He's up there for like an hour.
Yeah.
Michael Gove.
Oh, yeah. He was
bopped the night away.
he
That's
was
what did.
dancing, according to onlookers' claims.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to start a company called that, which sells information to the press.
Between the hours of 1:15 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. And we should add, I say we should add, if we want to be unnecessarily cruel, the manager of Pipe, extraordinary job,
Yeah.
claimed that
Is he called Dwayne?
he suggested he should not have to pay. He tried to dodge the £5 entry fee, allegedly saying, but I am the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster.
I must admit I've used a few ruses to get free into places, but that I would let... So, in fact, if I'd have been behind him in the queue, I'd have said, mate, I'll pay. After that, here, let me get this duchy.
I think you should try,
Or I might
Frank.
have sneaked by and passed the duchy on the left-hand side.
Very good.
He doesn't go on the left-hand side, as you know. But, Frank, you should try. What about I'm the former president of the Samuel Johnson Society?
Yeah, I could. Well, I did do a terrible thing once at a football do, and they said to me, have you got your pass? And I reached in my pocket, took out my pointed finger and just pointed at my face. I mean, what an awful...
What an awful person.
What an awful thing to do. I got in, but even so...
Yeah, you got in, but at what price, mate?
Yes, you're quite right. I've never quite looked at myself the same since. But still, that's better. I mean, it was, otherwise I wouldn't have got in, and we all have to make sacrifices. £5 as well. What a night out.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I'm standing at the moment. So I just took my jacket off. And there are some... I remember I got interviewed by Bush once on...
The band, or Andy Bush?
is there a band called Bush?
Yes, of course
I think
there
there's
is.
quite a big band
Gavin
called
There's one
Rossdale.
called Roche.
There's Bush as well.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, I got interviewed by Bush and he stood throughout. I felt like I was a headmaster who'd brought him in to question him about something, because obviously I sat. And there is a theory that if you stand, your voice has more zing and energy to it.
Okay.
Is that what you want?
It's not what I'm after, but some people are. They're more ambitious than me, these young presenters. They're prepared to stand if it gives them an extra zing.
So, this Gove in the club, the Chancellor of the
Yes.
Duchy of Lancaster in Pipe, at 2:30 a.m., it sparked, it went viral, the clip, and then it sparked a heated debate on GMB, which I caught.
Good Morning Britain.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, did he? So he's fessed up.
Yeah, he's fessed up.
He didn't claim
yeah.
looking like he...
No. He's
In
admitted
fact,
it.
there's been quite a lot of knock-on effect, because I don't know if you saw the clip where he does the popular dance "Big Fish, Little Fish" cardboard box.
Did he do that?
And he's since been reshuffled to the Department of Fisheries and Agriculture.
I fell for that,
yeah.
Al.
Hook, line and sinker.
Oh, very good. Very good.
So,
Oh, my... the two of them are going off like... It's like standing in a firework display.
But so I saw this heated debate about the subject on GMB.
Yeah.
I love a heated debate on GMB.
Who does GMB now? Piers Morgan or Scott?
Susanna Reid, I love her. Ben. I don't know. Ben.
Oh, yeah.
You know Ben one.
Ben, yeah.
Ben one, I call him.
Yeah.
Ben one. So they were discussing it, and they had a singer who was...
Ben...
Come on, everyone. Come
what's
on,
he
everyone.
called?
Ben Shepherd.
Ben Shepherd, of course.
Ben
Did I
Shepherd.
not just suggest that twice?
Did you?
We didn't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Oh, you cut out, dear.
It's just what we've just been talking about Bush, and it all got a bit... I got confused in my mind. Shepherd, Bush.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, this is not
sorry, Ben, if you're listening. He's a very nice chap.
handsome as well. Anyway, this Scottish singer called Talia, who was 22, and she said, but the problem is old people shouldn't be allowed into nightclubs. She went so far as to say people over 40.
Okay.
Tony Blackburn was presenting...
I would say over 30.
I would say no one should be in nightclubs. Awful places. Tony Blackburn was there. He got rather upset. He said, look, I was 60 when I first went to Ibiza. And he said, I went to a trance club. Sorry.
fair play.
60 in a trance.
Well, still, Blackburn has spoken. Like the first
Oh,
bird.
come on.
Yeah, wow. But you know what? I was in a pub once in London in the evening, and they were playing some sort of thumping music. I wouldn't be able to identify the actual genre, but it was, dance music. And a guy came in who was very much an office guy, and he asked the barman, he got a bottle of beer and said, could I put my briefcase behind the bar? And he danced for about, I don't exaggerate, it was probably half an hour, and he really went for it. And he was not old, but he was like shoving 40. And then he drank the beer, got his briefcase, he went, and I really admired him. I thought, that is great. If you want, they say dance like there's no one watching. It's hard to do that if you're Michael Gove. But this is what everyone says we should do. We should be able to just not care about somebody, some Scottish singer on GMB laying down the law, the ageist law about who can
I'll
dance
tell you what
and who
she
can't.
said. She said, I'm just coming into my prime. She said, I don't want to see my dad and my dad's friends cutting shapes. Alan?
I like that.
Yeah, I just think shut your eyes then. And while you're at it, also your mouth.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Can I ask a question? The woman who said on GMB that no one over 40 should go to a club. I mean, I'm speaking now objectively because I wouldn't go to a club for various reasons. I'm not, mainly because I'm not single, which for me is kind of the only reason to ever go to a club.
Michael Gove is, as the tabloids call him, newly single.
Yes.
That's what he is.
Yes, he's recently
why he's
announced
gone.
his divorce. I should think, I mean, God bless Michael Gove, but a lot of people whose relationship is in quite a bad way, middle-aged people, will have looked at and said, let's try and fix this. Because it's hard to go back out there when you don't want to be back out there. But yeah, I've accepted now that it was real. It's real.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work out whether it's just a bloke doing what he wants to do, or whether there's some sort of need for an intervention.
What were you were talking about the young woman,
Yes,
Frank?
I just think that to say no one over 40 should go to a nightclub is a bit like if I went on GMB and said women shouldn't go to football matches.
Which you regret doing that time.
And you only told me that 3 times.
I did
Frank
regret.
has never said that.
I did regret, and I did regret saying that one good thing about football hooliganism was it kept the middle classes away from football, and obviously that was not a good thing to say. But ageism is the ism which you can get away with, of course.
Also, Scottish. When Talia Storm said anyone over 40, oh yeah, right, what, does that include Ryan Gosling, does it? Or Bradley Cooper? I imagine you turning them down if they tried to get in. Also, Tony Blackburn came back with quite a salty response, which I enjoyed. Oh, he still got it, Blackburn.
Like the first bird.
What did he say?
There've been over 1,000, I believe. He said, well, you better hurry up and get on with it. You've only got 18 years left here. Oh, salty.
No, I just people do bandy about this dance like there's no one watching. So, and why shouldn't Govey go a dancing? Govey went caught in heated ride.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't think I'd be defending Michael Gove on the show.
Well, I didn't, but you know what? I think where I think we're perhaps all united on the Venn diagram is we all despise the cool. Yes. And it seems like a very cool people thing to do.
I don't want to say I despise them. I suppose I do hate them. But that to me is a bit less than despise.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah.
Ian Angle, one of our regular jerk correspondents.
Yeah, he's not cool.
Has texted...
People who pon, and I know this from my own experience, their cool goes down the drain pretty quickly.
Yeah, he says, do you reckon Gove is going for Chancellor of the Exchequer? You know,
Chancellor.
Not bad.
That's an angle and a half.
It's a shame in a way that the past tense of rave isn't Rove, because then they could have had a headline like Michael Rove.
Yeah, that is. I wish the past tense of raved was to rove. Yes, I like to rove in Ibiza. Actually, it wouldn't be the past tense, would it? It'd be roved.
No, you're right.
But yeah, I mean, come on, let's clear this up. One thing I don't want is sloppy grammar on this show.
Yeah.
And she's a lovely woman.
Yeah, but we don't have guests anymore.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've been discussing all morning, actually.
Is Frank not going to do his...
it's my fault.
Well, I don't know, it was... I
apologise.
I don't mind not.
No, I have to do it.
He's got to do it.
There was a slight... Anyway. This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Oh, there you go. I think everyone got that.
Bit late to the recent sea shanty craze.
I'd like to bring in a few folkies. That's always.
By the way, waking up to that, Al.
I just played "Atomic" by Blondie on the main radio station, and there was an asterisk on my atomic, and that means fact for radio presenter to read out. And the one on this was that Debbie Harry's autobiography comes out on the 1st of October 2019.
Oh, shut up.
Now, I think someone needs to have a little shuffle through the facts. Yeah. Do you know, I mean, unless it's like this day in history type of thing, even that would be wrong. But anyway, I missed that. I don't know about you.
Me too.
Can we continue with the Governator?
Okay.
We've been discussing Michael Gove, the club pipe within Bohemia, within O'Neill's.
And also clubbing in general for the slightly senior.
Which apparently is over 40 now.
Okay.
Bad news for our demographic.
I always think over 30 is... That, for me, that's when you got to stop calling yourself young.
Well, we always had a rule, I think I told you, someone once said to me, once you hit 27, you can't say, I'm only 27. Only as up till 27.
Oh, OK, that's a good one.
I'm only 26, fine.
That's good, yeah.
I'm only 26, we'll cope with, not 27. Anthony Moss, who I'm already warming to enormously on account of his Twitter bio being, instead of proud father of one, he's got ashamed father of one. I love Anthony Moss. Anthony Moss says you should be forced to go to a nightclub once a year after 40 to stop you pining for your youth when you're reminded of how truly awful the entire experience is. I love Mossy.
It's a very good... When I think of the times I've gone to nightclubs looking for company, as it were, I've just stood around cradling a pint. Oh, tragic, staring into the darkness. Anyway.
I'd be up for it. I think it sounds good.
What, standing on your own in a club, cradling a pint, staring into the darkness? Okay, fair enough.
If there's the right DJ on.
Oh, no. No, you've hit the nail on the head. I wouldn't, no.
Yeah. Some of our correspondents, we should offer balance here. Nige Soul, for example. I wonder what kind of music he's into. He says, me and my partner went to a Northern Soul all-nighter last Sunday. I'm 64 and she's 65. And we were nowhere near the oldest. In there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were probably like Wigan's chosen few, weren't they? A first time around or something like that. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think if you want to go, it shouldn't be you're too old, ever.
No.
Okay. Now, Craig Revel Horwood got involved in this whole thing and did a sort of a analysis of Gove's dancing, forgetting the well-known fact that we've all had enough of experts. But off Craig went, and he was a double-edged sword, Craig, I thought. He started off by saying, well, darling, and all that stuff, about saying it was very repetitive, and he did this annoying flick of the wrist that he kept doing. And then he said 10 out of 10 for enjoying himself.
He did say that.
Which I've never heard him say on Strictly. No. Ever. So he sort of balanced it somewhat by his own Horwoodian standards, which can be cruel in the extreme.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about Craig.
Yes.
Where did the tradition come from on reality TV shows that people are always called by their first name, almost on their own? Do you know on like... and now on Britain's Got Talent, it's Matthew. And you think, how did that happen?
Well, of course, the classic was it X Factor, and the winner is Steve. And he thought, can you imagine? Have you got Steve's new album?
Yeah, what is it? Mechanic of the Year?
Craig, yes, I believe what he said. His issue was that Gove hadn't rehearsed the dance. He said, if you're going to do a dance like that, he said, you've got to rehearse it at home. Because that's not a tragic concept, is it?
No.
Yeah.
If there was a video, not of Gove at a club, but rehearsing at home, that would have been a more tragic. It's funny, when I first watched this video, I was a bit embarrassed. The more I talk about it, the more I'm starting to see him as a hero.
I do too.
I know. I'm warming to Michael Gove.
It's similar to the Theresa May dance, which I think I had a similar feeling
I
to.
don't know that I'm still embarrassed by that. Just when you mentioned it.
No, see, we're going to have to agree to differ here.
You never let me do that.
Do I not?
You tried to convince me, so I have to agree with you in the end, or I'm in big trouble.
And yet our friendship has endured.
I know, it's incredible. We're both sturdy individuals, confident in our own skins. I wish he'd had... You know when people used to have the old Volkswagen thing? Was it Volkswagen they used to have around their neck?
Oh, yeah.
I wish he'd had, like, the little silver lady from Rolls-Royce or something, in a very British industry. That would have looked great. Who I believe, come to think of it, is known as the Spirit of Ecstasy.
Oh, do you know?
Right?
That's exact. What level would that be pitched at? That question on Millionaire. That question to Frank Skinner, who sat in that chair. I'd say 3 times.
What is the name of the Rolls-Royce hood ornament?
What cash level are we talking?
Oh, I'd want.
Pretty high.
I'd 125 grand for knowing that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's ambitious.
I mean, that's what you get for this show for knowing that, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
equally.
Before tax.
I've got to be honest, I'd pitch that a little lower.
Would
It's
you?
a wonderful pitch.
Would you have known it? Would you have known that the
I'd have needed
I'm
some
going to ask
prompting.
again because I just love saying hood ornament. Would you have known the name of the Rolls-Royce hood ornament?
It's one of those things. I think it would have come to me eventually, but it would have taken
I'm
a day.
afraid that's no good on Millionaire.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known.
No.
You get surprisingly long on Millionaire when you do it live. They let you think for ages and ages.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it 3 times you've done it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately, I did it the wrong way around. I started at the top of the ramp.
250k.
And
you
then I
want
told you
now.
the last time I went on, they said to me, "Sorry about the delay, but we booked your cab for later." To this, that's how badly I did. And it was the fact that they had faith in me, and then I'd let them down. It's a lot of luck involved. You know what I'm saying?
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've just had a text from my partner, and before I left the house this morning, I fed the dog, and it turns out I thought that Kath had put the breakfast in a box so that I could just drop it into the bowl, but what I did is I gave the dog the whole day's feed in one go.
That's good, though, isn't it?
She seemed very affectionate, the dog. She must have thought, wow, I love this guy. The size of this breakfast. And also, she ate the breakfast like wolf. We had to get a special bowl to stop her eating too fast, you know.
Right.
We might have to get one for the dog as well. No, but the dog ate this breakfast this morning, and then I was sitting watching, was it BBC Breakfast or something, and I heard the dog sort of go, really massive, horrible, gut-wrenching belch. Oh, man. I've actually bought a creature into the house to do this. And I realised that that's big. I would probably belch if I just got up and thought, you know what, I'm a bit rushed for time today. I think I'll have all 3 meals in one go.
You fed her world's strongest dog portions.
Yeah.
Like Tom Cruise ordering the same again.
Yeah, but she's going to be a bit peckish come about 5 o'clock, I would have thought.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what we should do now. Do we give her more? You're the dog expert.
Oh, you've got.
No, we've got it.
Haven't you?
We've got a sack.
got it.
Yeah, but you don't want to get her used to it.
No, I don't want,
fine.
you know.
Treat him mean, keep him lean.
I don't want a fat dog. You know what they do?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't.
They
Oh, dear. What happens?
they start to smell quite a bit, I think.
Oh, do they?
I mean, I don't mean as a general. I think they emit gaseous poison.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I've been told.
Interesting.
Can I take us back a bit to...
70s.
No, but that is very much my era.
My friend Stan was a dirty old man. Oh, sorry, I thought I was going to do a 70s.
I thought we were doing a
Just talk
medley.
about-
No, and I'll thank you not to bring Stan up again.
Did Noddy Alder did Noddy Alder ever refer to places he used to go as his old stomping ground? Anyway, carry on.
I'd like to take us back to a section we sometimes call Previously on the show.
Oh, not as far as the 70s at all.
No, as far as the 26th of August, if you want precision from
Okay,
me.
fair enough.
I will start with Dean in Leeds,
Okay.
who has sent us a missive entitled Frank Mentioned During a Wedding Service. Like the sound of it so far?
Yeah, I do. Mentioned during a wedding service.
I don't know if this is during the objections area, but we'll see.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Dear Frank and the others, last week I was at a... Oh, don't know about the others, Al, but we'll live with it.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
The
I think it's good for us as an ego check. And boy, is that an ego check. Last week I was at a friend's wedding service at a church in West Yorkshire. During an informal part of the ceremony, the priest briefly touched on marital disagreements where she referred to our very own Frank Skinner's greatest hits joke about arguments between partners. I was previously unaware of this joke, but I'd like to thank the priest for bringing it to my attention. And of course, any praise from me towards it has been redacted. That's kind regards, Dean in Leeds.
I love that the priest is using my material.
Crediting you, perhaps?
Perhaps not. Did he? I must have done, I suppose.
believe
Oh,
so.
well, fair enough. That's okay then.
Yes. And we've also had Michael in Preston.
Yeah.
1st of September, he contacted us regarding the 1953 film Shane. In 1978, Harlech TV dubbed 3 films into Welsh, one of which was Shane. Might this be a way of getting Frank's sitcom out of the ITV vaults to have it dubbed into Welsh and shown on certain transmitters only?
No, I cannot take responsibility for the movie Shane with Alan Ladd, which was one of those classic Hollywood things where Alan Ladd, who was very handsome and rugged, but about 5'3", he either stood on a box or sometimes they would dig a whole trench if it was a walking scene for the other person to walk in.
Oh, it's a shame.
Isn't it great that people went to that amount of trouble? I'd take that as a massive compliment if I was a lad, which I used to be, of course. Because people are saying, we want you so much, we'll dig a trench. I mean, tremendous work, Alan.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We were just off air there, just talking about Madame Tussauds. What I like about Madame Tussauds is that it's one of the things, a lot of things that we used to say in a very anglicised way, and we've now started using the foreign pronunciation. I don't think in French you'd say Tussauds, would you? Would you say Tussaud or something?
Yes, possibly.
Yeah. But I just remember there used to be a waxworks called Louis Tussauds or Tussauds.
Oh.
Now, what was that about? Anyone out there, 8, 12, 15, I'd love to... Was he like a sort of Danny Minogue figure who Madame, his sister or whatever, started to do well and Louis thought, I bet I could do that. I'm hoping it was a really a real poor man's...
Was it perhaps someone like Jim Core?
Yeah, well, although Jim Core, to be fair, he was part of the band, wasn't he? He was... I imagine he had to fight off a lot of suitors, Jim Core.
Yeah.
We were still on... previously, weren't we? And I believe you had one, Al, you'd like to share with the group.
Yes, I'm a big fan of this question that we've received. What happened to balsamic vinegar? I was at dinner this week and a puddle of balsamic appeared in the olive oil during the bread course. How fabulously 2007. I didn't realise balsamic vinegar was still a thing, what with hummus and tapenade on the scene. And they continue, and I like this a lot. Also, the word balsamic sounds like an adjective used to describe someone a bit feisty. I think...
Oh, yeah.
He's a bit balsamic when he's had a drink.
When I got ill as a child, I used to be given Friar's Balsam, which was a medicine in a bottle that honestly looked like it was owned by the Venerable Bede. And had a picture of a sort of ancient monastic figure. I don't know what it was, but or if it worked, but it's stuck in my memory as it did in my craw.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Jez in Brighton, who sent us the balsamic vinegar email, says, Emily, as the correspondent of Fine Food and Beverages, I think we should leave this one to you. I actually disagree. I'd like to put a question to you both. I don't want to play up to the cliche of my stereotype as a stingy Yorkshireman on this show.
No.
Oh, please do.
I recently bought some bargain box set balsamic vinegar
Right.
in 3 different little bottles, packaged nice, really nice, and it has different strengths like 1, 2, and 3.
Does it really? Like Brute and Brute 33?
And a little blurb written on the back that has recommendations like this is good with meat, this one's good
Serving
with cheese.
suggestions.
Yeah, but
with cheese.
One of them says this one's good on ice cream.
Oh no, that's been written there by mischievous schoolboys. Is it in
I
biro?
think so. No, it's on the red packaging, the box, like it's printed.
Do you know, Heston Blumenthal has got
luxury
into
stuff.
that box and he's wreaked merry havoc.
I dipped carrot into a chocolate fountain yesterday.
Was that the follow-up single to I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It?
Yeah, I came away from it liking both carrot and chocolate still, but not in combination, as I believe
My
they say.
daughter the other day ate a bowl of Cocoa Pops, which she consumes without milk, with a side order of sugar snap peas.
Just because it's got the word sugar in it.
It's such a weird combo, but she really enjoyed it.
This is something, by the way, that can I just go back to something we was talking about earlier when I was talking about whether the Michael Gove was a lookalike thing. It occurs to me, the lookalike business, is it still thriving?
I'm not
Because
sure.
there's a lot more celebrities now than there used to be because of reality telly and stuff. And I wonder if those celebrities have replaced like the pretend celebrities for bookings. You know, are you going to pay 50 quid for a fake Elton John if you can get Samanda?
Well, I think you're right in that the days of the celebrity lookalike being a celebrity in their own right, the Jeanette Charles years, shall we call them, who was famously the Queen,
Yeah,
I think they've passed.
I think
I don't think we'll see her like again, JC.
Wasn't there a period where Wayne Rooney's brother was a Wayne Rooney lookalike?
No, was there really? I hope that's true.
I hope it's not actually, but yeah.
But surely you could just appear as Wayne Rooney's brother. You don't even need to. I suppose that'd be a nice development later. I imagine he did like a one-man show, and then at the end of it say, and I, reader, was his brother.
Do you?
Yeah.
On the subject of the lookalikes, Ros Bridges has got in touch regarding Louis Tussauds, the brother.
Great news.
There was a Louis Tussauds in Blackpool a good 15 years ago. I believe he was a relative of Madame T.
It stands a chance.
The waxworks in the place were so bad, we'd just go for a laugh. For years, they had a wax Judith Chalmers in the window to tempt customers in.
I think I might have gone to. That's maybe where I discovered the Louis too. And yeah, he was very, very substandard.
Oh,
there
dear.
was a Muhammad Ali that could easily pass for Mo Farah. It was just absolute rubbish. And the Elvis had got a bit of the Ben Shepherd about him. So, I mean, it must have been one of those, embarrassing, like Billy Carter, Jimmy Carter's brother,
Yes.
who brought out his Billy's beer. A bit Madame used to say, "Oh, Louis, he's blackening the Tussauds." I bet she said
Like
that.
I saying, Nam.
I think they say Nam. Yeah. Oh, she was in Nam. Don't worry about that. So we've come to the end. What was, for me, a fundamentally a disappointing show because I never got any Friars Balsam correspondence.
Well, we have got some, but I'll read it to you off air.
Oh no, you're joking. Is it negative? No, did we hear anything about Friars Balsam? I'm asking for the third time.
We have heard something, but
I'll read it to you later.
no, yeah,
Okay.
I think it's possibly not suitable for work.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much for listening to us. And you know what? If the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. And also, I'm on live in Peterborough tomorrow if you want to come to that. And get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.